Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Operation Iraqi Freedom, Battle of Nasiriyah. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if the pronunciation is terrible. I'm going to say Nasiriyah, but I could be off with that. Animated, and yeah, we're going to just get back into this. I've done all the reactions so far for this current, like they're currently posting this, so this current series I guess you could say. But yeah, we're going to jump into this and see what happens here. Links are in the description to my Patreon. To see more of my reactions that I can't post to YouTube. But yeah, let's learn a bit about this battle, because I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this battle in my life. So, and it's obviously like a well-known battle where I guess a lot of horrible things went on, casualties. I don't know how, if it was like if it went well for the US or went well for Iraq. Like, I'm not too sure. But we're going to jump into this. Yeah, let's check this out.
Before we begin, I'd like to say a quick word on Opera browser. The faster, safer...
I'm gonna skip this, but I'm gonna just go to the actual link. But if you're interested in doing this, links will be in the description to this video, where you can find this ad to help support this channel. And I've used Opera before, and a lot of people are promoting Opera, so I think they've probably done a lot of upgrades. So it's probably like one of the best browsers now. But I'm in a bit of a rush, so I do have to skip it. But if you're interested, you know what to do. You can read this here and. Yeah.
To make your digital life easier by switching to Opera desktop browser free today. At 1 AM on the 23rd of March 2003, the 507th Army Maintenance Company is trying to make up time, having been delayed since the start of Operation Iraqi Freedom. They are driving in darkness on Iraq's Highway 8 when they approach an intersection. The commanding officer, Captain Troy King, makes a mistake and continues on the highway rather than turning off as ordered.
Oh.
They approach the sprawling city of Nasiriyah and its more than 400,000 inhabitants. The 18-vehicle convoy draws closer to the city and runs into an Iraqi roadblock manned by men with AK-47s. Rather than opening fire, the Iraqis wave the Americans in, and King leads the column into Nasiriyah at 6 AM.
Oh.
It is here that the 507th and the entire coalition will receive a nasty shock from an enemy they have underestimated.
Oh, wait, have they like tricked them into thinking they're not going to do anything?
There are at least 4,000 Iraqi fighters waiting for them in the city.
Ah, okay.
It is now the third day of the invasion. Despite an improvised start to the campaign, coalition forces are methodically advancing north, with the American 5th Corps on the left and the Marine Expeditionary Force on the right. Most of the initial objectives have been achieved on schedule. The Marines have secured the Rumaila oil fields, the British are steadily encircling Basra, and 5th Corps is preparing to drive on Baghdad itself. The day before, the 7th Cavalry Regiment of the 3rd Infantry Division reached the outskirts of the town of As-Samawa, having advanced 130 miles in just 2 days. Leading elements of 5th Corps have also advanced to the suburbs of Nasiriyah. Although the army units are meant to bypass the city, the 507th AMC is mistakenly and unknowingly driving right through it. The convoy moves slowly through the narrow streets, past Iraqis who seem surprised to see the American trucks. Things are tense until the convoy reaches the other side of Nasiriyah, without taking any fire. However, Captain King now realizes he has made a mistake and orders the 507th AMC back into the city to rejoin the assigned route.
Is it too late?
As the convoy turns around and retraces its steps, King orders lock and load as the column passes Saddam Fedayeen fighters, who are eyeing the Americans with anticipation.
Oh no.
At 7 AM, the vehicles make a left turn onto Highway 16 and begin taking small arms fire from every direction. They attempt to fire back, but many of their small arms have become jammed by the desert sand. The convoy misses the turn back into the city, forcing Captain King to search for an area ahead where they can make a U-turn. In the confusion, the convoy splits into 3 groups as it tries to fight its way out of the city, with the faster Humvees outrunning the slower maintenance trucks, as the drivers desperately try to avoid improvised roadblocks. 2 Americans are killed while the convoy is trapped in the killing zone, and multiple trucks must be abandoned when they are too badly damaged. The Saddam Fedayeen is a heavily armed paramilitary composed of the Ba'ath Party's most loyal members and formed after Saddam's defeat in 1991 to brutally suppress the rebellions against his rule.
What, have
The
they
Shiite
have they been blocked in then?
population in southern Iraq is generally supportive of the invasion, but the Fedayeen keep order through brutalizing the locals, often executing civilians who try to surrender themselves to coalition forces. Finally, the convoy has found an area large enough to execute a U-turn. In the middle of the convoy, Private Brandon Sloan's truck breaks down in the middle of the chaos.
Oh man.
He and his passenger, Sergeant Donald Walters, disembark while the 5-ton wrecker behind them moves in for a combat pickup.
Fuck me.
Sloan is able to climb aboard the wrecker, but Walters is accidentally left behind.
No.
Alone in a hostile city, Walters fights his way to the Saddam Canal by himself. It is believed that Walters was looking to lay low before attempting to escape the area.
What?
However, he is soon cornered by Fedayeen fighters, and Walters continues to resist with nowhere else to run. Heavily outnumbered, he fires every single one of his 201 rounds from his M16.
Fuck.
Despite running out of ammunition, Walters refuses to surrender and must be forcibly taken into custody by his captors. He is then summarily executed by the Fedayeen militia.
Jesus Christ.
Sergeant Donald Walters will later be awarded the Silver Star.
Mate, imagine the fear going through you during that. Like, that's something that's unimaginable, man. Flipping hell. That is horrible.
Meanwhile, the rest of the convoy has re-entered the heart of the city and is speeding towards the Euphrates River Bridge. At 7:30 am, the first group, led by Captain King, finally emerges from Nasiriyah and runs into Marines from Alpha Company of the 8th Tank Battalion. Their commander, Major Bill Peoples, learns of the ambush and orders his tanks forward to help the embattled members of the 507th AMC. Covered by 2 Marine Corps AH-1 Cobras and a pair of FA-18s, 8 tanks along with a Marine rifle platoon launch a bounding advance. As they fight their way in, Alpha Company is confronted by an Iraqi tank, along with AA and artillery positions. The Marines swiftly destroy all of them. They arrive to find 10 survivors of Group 2 pinned down by Iraqi fire. Under supporting fire from the tanks and air support, Alpha Company managed to save these survivors and get them to safety.
They came just at the right time then.
However, 10 Americans are killed and 6 more captured in the ambush of the 507th Army Maintenance Company.
Oh my days.
At 7:10 am, an Army tractor trailer in the 3rd group swerves to avoid a dump truck, but jackknifes and crashes. The Humvee behind attempts to go around, only to be hit by an RPG in the front tyre, causing the Humvee to smash into the back of the truck at high speed. Everyone in the Humvee is killed except for the 2 female privates, Laurie Piestewa and Jessica Lynch, who were wounded and captured by the Iraqis. Private Piestewa will later die in captivity, becoming the first female Native American soldier killed in service of the United States.
What?
In total, 15 of the 18 vehicles in the 5...
This has gone a lot. This has gone a lot worse than I was imagining. I mean, I guess when it comes to these types of situations, you want everything needs to go the way you're planned, and it didn't from the start. It pretty much went wrong right at the beginning. So this is why this is all happening now. But flipping hell, this is brutal, and this is just touching the surface at this point. I feel like there's so much more of this video to go.
507th AMC are destroyed in the deadly ambush. The 8th Tank Battalion is part of Task Force Tarawa, the designation for the 2nd Marine Brigade, which is to capture 2 bridges in the eastern sector of Nasiriyah. This will allow Jim Mattis's 1st Marine Division a direct route into Mesopotamia. Task Force Tarawa is to seize the crossings over the Euphrates and the Saddam Canal as soon as possible in order to keep up with the fast pace demanded by Mattis. The Marines are not expecting much resistance at the bridges. Lieutenant Colonel Rick Grabowski's 1st Battalion of the 2nd Marine Regiment will be the spearhead for this operation. Before the assault, Task Force Tarawa's commanding officer, Brigadier General Rich Natonsky, takes Grabowski aside and asks him to rescue the missing members of the 507th AMC if possible. "Ricky, you have got to see if you can find those guys. They'd do it for us." Grabowski's plan is for Alpha Company to take the lead and seize the Euphrates Bridge by late morning. Then, Bravo and Charlie companies will swing east and north of the city through an open field to capture the bridge over the Saddam Canal. Alpha Company advances towards the Euphrates Bridge, but soon spots 9 T-55 tanks defending a railway overpass. Grabowski sends an anti-tank team ahead of his column to destroy the Iraqi tanks. The T-55s have been purposefully immobilized to be used as pillboxes, making them easy targets for the AT team, which dismounts from their Humvees and flanks around the Iraqi tanks.
Just 2 of them?
Using their FGM-148 Javelins, the AT team makes quick work of the obsolete Iraqi tanks, which first entered service in 1958. All 9 T-55s are destroyed, and the attack continues. Alpha Company seizes the Euphrates Bridge without much trouble and secures the perimeter, allowing Bravo and Charlie to advance towards the Saddam Canal Bridge. However, Bravo Company finds that the open field they are supposed to move through to circumvent the town is actually a marshy sewage plain, and the vehicles quickly bog down. A tank retriever is called for, which also becomes stuck. With the column mired in the sewage and coming under increasingly heavy Iraqi fire from rooftops to their east and west, Grabowski orders the men to dismount and head to the second bridge on foot. The Iraqis are using shoot and scoot tactics, popping up on the flat rooftops to take shots at the Marines before moving to their next location. Cobra attack helicopters are ordered in to provide gunship overwatch, suppressing Iraqi fire long enough for Bravo Company to keep moving. At the same time, Charlie Company moves across the Euphrates Bridge but does not spot Bravo Company. Due to a breakdown in communications, Captain Dan Whitnam believes that Bravo actually took the direct route through Nasiriyah's main street and decides to follow.
Oh god.
His column speeds towards the second bridge through the heart of the city, a route that will soon become known as Ambush Alley.
No, that's not a good sign.
Meanwhile, in Qasr, the US Marines from the 15th MEU are relieved by the Royal Marines of 3 Commando, and the port of Qasr is declared open by American Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. However, the reality on the ground is far different. The Saddam Fedayeen have fortified themselves in the old town of Qasr and put up unexpectedly strong resistance. It will take several more days and multiple casualties among the Royal Marines before the city is finally secured. After the fall of Qasr, British Defence Secretary Jeff Hoon publicly compares the port to Southampton. One Royal Marine cracks, "It's not at all like Southampton. There's no beer, and they're shooting at us. It's more like Portsmouth."
Oh wow. What?
In Nasiriyah, Captain Whitnam's Charlie Company is speeding through the streets at
You've got to love how even going through this, you've got these little bits of humour that I guess it's just showing what they're like. No matter what they're going through, they're still trying to keep their spirits somewhat there. Like going through these awful battles, still trying to keep the spirits up and all that kind of stuff.
45 miles per hour, racing towards the Saddam Canal Bridge. The Iraqis are initially slow to react, surprised by the fast-moving column of vehicles. Ambush Alley had been identified as a potential Iraqi kill zone before the invasion, and no provisions have been made to clear the dangerous 4-lane boulevard. The Iraqis quickly overcome their initial shock and fire RPGs and machine guns into the convoy. Yet, unlike the outgunned 507th AMC, the Marines of Charlie Company are able to bring Mark 19 grenade launchers and 50 caliber machine guns to bear on the enemy. Furthermore, the Marines' vehicles stay together without bunching up, allowing them to keep a coherent formation.
Okay.
Just as the convoy is crossing the canal bridge, the last assault amphibious vehicle in line is hit by an RPG in the back ramp, seriously wounding 4 Marines. The commander of the vehicle, First Lieutenant Michael Seeley, is a veteran of the First Gulf War, where he receives the Bronze Star.
Oh man.
As the AAV begins to slow down due to a damaged track, Seeley orders the driver to get across the bridge before they break down. "Push, push, push. We have to get the hell out of here." The AAV manages to limp to the other side of the canal, where the rest of Charlie Company is in a massive firefight, having been caught in a successfully pre-planned ambush by Fedayeen and Iraqi army forces.
This is wild.
Faced with a hail of small arms and mortar fire, Whitnam deploys his lead vehicles in herringbone formation, and the Marines dismount to form a defensive perimeter at a T-intersection, Whitnam requests fire support from an army artillery battalion, while Cobra gunships rake the Iraqi positions with rocket and gunfire. However, Charlie Company does not have a forward air controller, so any airstrike will be going in blind and at major risk of friendly fire.
Oh, Jesus.
The Iraqi mortars find their range, and a quick barrage devastates the Marine position, killing 3 and wounding 3 more. An NCO asks Whitnam if the casualties can be sent back across the bridge, to which the captain replies, "Absolutely not. We need to hold right where we're at." However, a breakdown in communication leads to 4 AAVs leaving the position to retreat back through Ambush Alley.
What?
Whitnam can only watch helplessly as his radio net is jammed with Marines talking over each other in the chaos.
Oh, mate, this is just... this is horrible, man. So they're all just getting completely split up at this point. There's just literally nothing they can really do. They're all just being split up and I guess sectioned off, so it's making it easier for the Iraqi soldiers, right?
Charlie Company and Whitnam are in the fight of their lives at the intersection and have just lost half of their vehicle strength thanks to the miscommunication.
Jesus.
The retreating AAVs, carrying dead and wounded Marines, again comes under heavy RPG and machine gun fire as they run the gauntlet down Ambush Alley. Only the Mark 19 and 50 caliber machine guns are able to keep the fully alerted enemy at bay. To make matters worse, 2 A-10 Warthogs orbiting the city spot the AAVs moving south and assume it is an Iraqi armoured counterattack, and therefore anything north of them will be Iraqi. The second AAV in the line takes a direct hit from an Iraqi RPG.
Oh, God.
Loaded with mortar ammunition, the AAV explodes in a massive fireball, killing 8 Marines. The third is struck by an RPG in the treads, forcing the squad inside to abandon the vehicle and set up a defensive position at a nearby building to await rescue.
Mate.
The final AAV takes a hit to the ramp from another RPG, blowing the back off, but the vehicle continues to the bridge. Just as it is about to reach safety, another RPG explodes inside the AAV, setting it on fire and wounding 9 Marines inside.
Fuck me.
The first AAV in the line makes it back to Alpha Company, who immediately begin medevac procedures.
Mate, this is something else, man.
By early afternoon, Charlie Company's position is dangerously exposed, but no one in the battalion HQ, co-located with Bravo Company, knows where Charlie Company is. The regimental air officer calls in the 2 A-10 Warthogs on station to support the battalion, but Whitnam's Charlie Company becomes the victim of another dangerous miscommunication. The air controller has mistakenly been told that any units north of Bravo Company are hostile. The Warthogs
Mate, this is going to be absolute devastation here, isn't it?
roll in to launch airstrikes against what they don't realise are Charlie Company's vehicles. The A-10s make multiple passes, strafing and bombing the remaining AAVs with AGM-65 Maverick missiles and firing their 30mm guns. The vehicles are marked with friendly markings, but the Warthogs have not been equipped with the new thermal identification system. Finally, Whitnam makes contact with Grabowski and calls off the airstrike.
Fuck.
6 Marines have been killed.
Gotta think what that's going to do to someone's mental state. You realise you've been shooting your own. And obviously this is just miscommunication. I guess this stuff does happen from what I've seen in the past. But that stuff, like that, what that's going to do to your mental state, realising what's happened when you're like the pilot or you're one shooting in the pilot. Like, fuck, man, that's got to be one of the worst feelings in the world.
Meanwhile, Major Bill Peoples has heard on the radio that Charlie Company is taking a pounding and has decided to act. Without orders, Major Peoples has taken 2 Abrams main battle tanks and has told his executive officer, "Hey, XO, punch it. We're going to run down this damn alley as fast as we can and hope we don't get hit."
Fucking hell.
His own Abrams had broken down when the attack began, but he has acquired a new vehicle. The tanks advance through Ambush Alley, firing on both sides of the street with their machine guns. Although the well-armoured Abrams can endure a lot of punishment, it only takes 1 well-placed RPG or recoilless rifle round to disable the tank. Peoples breaks through to Whitnam's position, and his tanks provide overwhelming fire. Alpha Company is ordered to push forward across the Saddam Canal to support the beleaguered Marines on the north bank. As they are en route, and now with Abrams tank support raining shells on the Iraqi assault, the attacks begin to subside. Charlie Company will soon be relieved, and enemy fire has slackened significantly. The situation is coming back under control. Peoples will go back into Nasiriyah again to rescue the Marines still trapped in the building in Ambush Alley. 28 Americans are killed in Nasiriyah on the 23rd of March alone, and none of the missing members of the 507th AMC are found by the Marines.
Oh man.
Thanks again to our patrons who make these videos
This might be the most brutal in terms of battles that I've ever seen on this channel. This might be the most brutal one. This is wild. Newer generation Marine here, 2018 to current day, and they showed us this in our fratricide? I don't know what that is. Fratricide class at TACP. So many things that the FAC and aircrew did improperly, and it's just beyond tragic what happened. Since then, a lot of changes, rules, templates have been made to reduce fratricide incidents like this. Our instructors taught us these rules are written in blood for a reason. Fuck, man. I try not to judge situations where the people involved don't have all the context, but seeing the convoy safely pass through Nasiriyah and then decide to pass through the city again despite knowing there was armed resistance. Yeah, this is just... I mean, I'm not going to say I know what I would do in this situation, like, because human nature is to make mistakes and, I guess, panic. And in this situation, I don't think there's one human on this planet that wouldn't have the sense of fear that would then lead to maybe a wrong move and stuff. But it's hard to say. But mate, this was brutal, and I mean, I guess this is why this is a well-known battle, right? And flipping hell, I was not expecting it to go this wrong, but I guess this stuff happens in war, right? But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and that is it. Until next time, peace.